happy about it. So. Let's call this meeting to order on May 16th, 2023. The time is now 6:30 and Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Mahoney,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey. Trustee Bristow. Here. Trustee Westcott. Trustee Cohen. Here. Trustee White. Here. Trustee Tapie. Here.
And we have quorum. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Cohen.
Yes.
Trustee Bristow.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Tapie.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Yes. Carries. The next item is proclamations. We have a couple of proclamations here. The first one being the National Police Week, May 14th to the 20th of 2023. In 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the calendar week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the law enforcement agency of the town of Lochbuie play an important role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of our community, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, protecting them against violence and disorder, and protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas our police department has grown to be a modern and scientific law enforcement agency which unceasingly provides a vital public service. Therefore, I, Mayor Michael Mahoney, and the board members of the town of Lochbuie urge our citizens to join in commemorating law enforcement officers past and present who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their communities have established for themselves the rights and security of all citizens. And as always, thank you, Chief. And our officers in the crowd back there hiding.
Yes.
All right. Proclamation number 2, the Public Works Week, May 26th through the 27th of 2023. Connecting the world through public works. Whereas public work professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to the sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life and well-being of the people of Lochbuie. And whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and children in Lochbuie to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2023 marks the 63rd annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association, be it now resolved. I, Mayor Mahoney, do hereby designate the week of May 21st to the 27th, 2023 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. And Public Works, yes, thank you for all you do, from snow removal to keeping our sewers and water running, most definitely. So you guys got to share the week, by the way. It's- Right, thank you very much. And I will submit these in a bit. All right. Next item is public comments. Heather, you have a couple comments to read into the record, if you would, please.
Okay. Dear Lochbuie Town Board and Lochbuie residents, my name is Ernestina Gallegos, and I'm writing today to express the urgency of a public library in Lochbuie. Currently, Lochbuie does not have a recreation center, library, a youth-geared nonprofit, or a place for collective activities. Lochbuie is my home community as well as my work community. I see the youth of our town at my job as a teacher as well as in the neighborhood. I see the needs of my students and their families, which is why it has been hard or has been on my heart for some time now to one day start a family resource center for our community that provides resources as well as a space for our youth. I believe places like recreation centers, libraries, and nonprofits provide resources and space within a community. When I heard that there was talk of a Lochbuie library, I was ecstatic to say the least. I was excited for my own family, but even more so for the youth and the families I see and work with. I thought of the activities that my students could enjoy at the library, the access to books, computers, and the sense of community that libraries bring. I thought of the diverse families of Lochbuie that could come and learn and grow together. I thought of the families who would come to the library together as a family, as well as the kids who would stumble in by accident on their own and find a safe place of acceptance, and adults who listen to them and spark new interests in them. I am in absolute awe and thrilled for our community library. So when I heard that the town board and library board were having trouble coming up with an agreement in negotiations and the possibility of a delay in the creation of a library, I was crushed. The need for a library in Lochbuie is now. Our Lochbuie community will be greatly impacted by the presence of a library. Community access to a safe place where people can read, learn new skills, have access to computers, and build community is vital to the sustainability to any good neighborhood. Libraries are an essential place for young families to gather. Libraries are non-ecclesiastical and non-alcohol centered. They are a node for community engagement. We are in this age desperate for places to gather and connect. Libraries fill this need. Libraries build confidence in youth readers, give parents a place to role model interactive behaviors, and can help diminish the achievement gap we are currently experiencing. The resources libraries can provide for a community are endless. There are libraries in neighboring communities that I utilize and am thankful for. However, working and living in this community, I know not all families in Lochbuie have transportation or time to travel to these outside libraries. Not all families know about libraries in other areas or see their importance. A library in our community means more access for all community members. A library in Lochbuie is urgent because nowadays all things can lead to a healthier, more centered, and social lifestyle are urgent. And the creation of a library is something we can actually do to create a healthier, more centered, and social lifestyle in Lochbuie. Thank you for your time. I am eager to learn how we as a community can help make the Lochbuie Library a reality. Your neighbor, Ernestina Gallegos. This one is from Ludana Busby at 550 Hermosa Street. Said, to whom it may concern, I am pro marijuana sales in Lochbuie. I have lived here for 6 years and have watched every other city benefit from this new and exciting change. Our community needs and deserves a recreation center, a library, etc. This would be a great way to make it happen. My name is Audra Ross and I live at 336 Cherry Street. Lochbuie is really in need of amenities for kids and could really benefit from marijuana sales and tax dollars. I vote yes, we need more for kids to do like a library. My name is John Niles and I live at 336 Cherry Street. Lochbuie is really in need of amenities for kids and could really benefit from marijuana sales and tax dollars. I vote yes. Good evening. My name is Quinn Trujillo I live at 725 Indigo Street, Black Bowie, 80603. I am in favor of the sale of marijuana in our town. I think it will bring in much needed revenue to make repairs on the town and keep Black Bowie moving forward with the times. I, Jade Vanner, am voting yes on marijuana sales in Loch Bowie at 325 Ravine Way. Voting yes on marijuana sales in Loch Bowie, Cliff Ball, 325 Ravine Way, Loch Bowie, Colorado. Thank you, Cliff Ball.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. All right, and next, Carol Ott.
Oh, okay.
This isn't your first time, Carol.
Almost. Carol Upton, 803 Spruce Place, Loch Bowie. As far as the library, we've been working for 13 years to get a library in this town. It's not because Loch Bowie doesn't want it. We have not been able to get the High Plains Library to allow it to come here and be a regular library. I hope in the future that we can do it with trustee pro tem Jeffries to be able to do that. She's trying hard. Also, I have a question on the rental of the building. It says 1,200 for deposit, but the one is marked out. So I wasn't sure whether it was 1,200 or 200 that they were wanting for deposit. And that was a question for that. So as far as the building code, I'll read what I have written here. Clearly, this is an overreach by the state of Colorado to force their green agenda on everyone, whether you agree with them or not. And again, clearly, there are unfunded mandates in codes required after July 1st, 2023. Specifically, the requirement for any new garage builds have a built-in EV charger. I looked up the cost of those. It can range anywhere from zero if the government pays for it, or your builder pays for it, but then you still pay for it, all the way up to $50,000. Ridiculous. Clearly, an unfunded mandate forcing additional costs on individuals who have no interest in an EV. Clearly, an overreach of the state of Colorado and unfunded mandates of the legislature have been turned down time and time again by Colorado courts, as it's clearly prohibited by the Colorado Constitution. So I urge approval of the 2021 codes and let the new code requirements play out in the courts, meaning the 2023 codes. And when we have to go to it, we'll just have to. The second thing I wanted to speak on was the marijuana. On May 2nd, this board approved drafting a resolution for the approval of retail marijuana in the town of Loch Bowie. The retail sale of marijuana has been turned down twice, once by an advisory vote and once by survey of the voters of Loch Bowie. And this issue was addressed during the comments section regarding the motion by 3 of the trustees. Legislation by the Loch Bowie board to approve retail marijuana would be a slap in the face to the will of the majority of voters in Loch Bowie. That said, I personally think the sale of marijuana, retail marijuana, would be good for the town, especially after discussing the lack of crime issues with Mr. McBroom and also with our chief. After retail marijuana sales were adopted by Commerce City, he found that it did not increase. However, I would not allow my personal opinions to override the will of the voters. Approving legislation without the consent of the affected citizens would clearly be a liberal attitude of, I know better what is good for you than you do. I totally agree that we need the marijuana more than likely. But we need the voters to tell us that that's what they want. What I really would like to see is a board member to make the following resolution. I move to table the drafting of any issues regarding the sale, use, or growth of legal marijuana as defined by the state of Colorado until the majority of the electorate of the town of Lochbuie approve its sale, use, or cultivation. So far, I've done some kind of feeling of what people are thinking on Facebook as well as on Nextdoor. People are for it, but they want to be able to be the ones to say that they want it instead of it being pushed down their throat. And I think it's all but fair to do that. Ignoring the will of the electorate of the town of Lochbuie would be putting your position as trustee in violation of that trust. And that would give any future candidates for town board a very powerful tool for victory in a future town board election. Thank you for your time.
David Ott. Okay, all right. Well, we don't get to hear you come up and sing to us. All right, Steve Ward.
Hello, Steve Ward, 910 Sunrise Drive, Lochbuie. I heard that letter mention about the library. I wanted to just come and say as a citizen of 16 years here, I fully support that. I've been to the Hudson branch. I know that in Greeley, they just opened a new Link branch, Link Center over there. So it seems as though that it's a success. High Plains is a successful enterprise and knows what they're doing, and not pleased to hear about the issues or any problems that are going on in relation to that. But I believe it is a good service. I have 3 children here raised in our house right over here in the Berkshire. So instead of having to travel into Brighton or into Hudson, it would be great to have one here. And with all the growth going on, I know we're a larger town than Hudson, and feel as though we deserve one here in our area. And they have a lot of services, as I'm sure many are aware of. We've just taken advantage of a program the High Plains offers where you're able to actually get a telescope and pick it up at the library, take it home, look at the moon and that sort of thing. State parks pass. Also museum passes and that sort of thing. So these sorts of things, I think, are not well known at all. And I think if we had a library here in Lochbuie, that the citizens here could really benefit from some of the more out of the box, not necessarily book related benefits that a library could offer, specifically High Plains. So that's what I wanted to mention. Also, a slightly separate note, but I was just wanting to know if the Citizens Police Academy would ever be coming back. I took that a few years ago. I did enjoy that. And I'd hope that would come back to the town. And as something, again, for citizen engagement and involvement. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, Caitlin Trujillo. Please state your name and address for the record.
Okay. My name is Caitlin Trujillo. I live on 725 Indigo Street in Lochbuie. And I too am for the marijuana sales in Lochbuie. I also think we need to think about doing a medical marijuana and recreational for people in our community that use medical marijuana. They should be able to go, just like we go to pharmacy here in Longbuoy. And I think it would also help the library situation and get a rec center, a recreational center or something. Because me too, I am growing a family here and I would love to watch the town of Lochbuie grow with us as well. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, thank everyone for coming and speaking. We move on to the consent agenda. And the items on the consent agenda are the payment approval report in the amount of $282,107.04. The May 2nd, 2023 minutes. Resolution 2023-19, the Building B community room use, and Resolution 2023-20 for a purchase of a trailer. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee White,
Yes.
trustee Con,
Yes.
trustee Chapey,
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney,
Yes.
trustee Bristow,
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, next item is a public hearing consideration for final approval of ordinance 2023-682. And at this time, the time is now 6:51, and I will open the public hearing. And Brian, did you want to lead off, or we just pass the buck around the room? We'll just throw it over to our safe built. Turn on the. There you go.
The ordinance is proposing to adopt the 2021 Energy Code, the 2021 Plumbing Code, and the 2023 Electric Code. So the Plumbing Code and the Electrical Code have to be adopted within a year of the state adopting it by state statute. The state adopted the 21 Plumbing Code in April, and they will adopt the Electrical Code in August, first day of August. We are proposing to adopt these three codes now before the 1st of July due to the fact the state has adopted legislation, another unfunded mandate. If we adopt any code after July 1st, we have to adopt the most current energy code, the sweep and the stretch energy codes, as well as the governor's electrification proposal. It is our opinion that the adoption of the 21 energy code now, before the beginning of July, is the least impactful method for Lochbuie. There's some very onerous conditions for adopting the sweep and stretch codes that we do not feel it's in the best interest of Lochbuie. This is why we're proposing this group of codes to be adopted now.
Questions or comments they'd like to make? Trustee White? Any questions, comments? Can you explain the sweep and stretch? Or-
Okay, so the sweep and the stretch are additional codes the state are mandating above and beyond the 21 energy code. A good example would be EV chargers. In every garage space, you have to have an EV charger. If you're using your driveway as a mandated parking space, you would also have to have an EV charger for your driveways. You would also have to have provisions for solar, whether you were going to put it in or not, which would be a raceway from the attic into your electrical panel. Another one would be if you replace a water heater or a furnace or a stove or a fireplace, you would have to have electrical circuits run to those appliances, even if they were gas. So think of it, if you will, 30-year-old home needs a new water heater. They get a standard 80% efficient water heater, they're good to go. But with the sweep and stretch codes, you'd also have to run an electrical circuit to that water heater. And then you'd have to have the space in your breaker panel to accommodate that. So you may have to do a service change in addition to a water heater. If you're going to do a furnace, same thing applies, a gas stove. Imagine running a dedicated circuit if you want to do a gas fireplace insert. That's going to cost you anywhere from $100 to $500 if you have the breaker space. If you don't have the breaker space, it could cost you an additional $3,000 to $5,000. The other thing we have to think about when you're thinking EVs, electric vehicle and charger, there's currently a group of fire marshals in the state that are proposing legislation that would prohibit lithium batteries indoors. What does that mean? You have to do an EV charger, but you're not allowed to have your car in the garage. There's a significant cost to the residents. What's going to happen in 25 is the state is going to have a state energy board, and they are going to be statewide, and it's going to be mandated what energy codes that we follow. So what we're recommending is the 21 code now. So it gives us time to prepare for what the state is going to mandate.
I smell popcorn, elephants, and hear circus music.
I have no opinion on that matter.
All right, well, thank you very much. Anyone have anything they wanted to? Thank you. All right. Oh, go ahead, trustee Tapey.
In talking about preparing for these changes, is there a possibility that some could be changed or stricken from the mandates or?
So there's always the possibility, right at the last few days of this legislative cycle, there are some bills proposed that would strip the state of some of these abilities to mandate some of these code issues. That did not get passed at this session. A distinct possibility it's going to be brought back in the 24 session. Some people feel that the energy code isn't stringent enough. Some people feel that we've passed the point of diminishing returns. For instance, some of the sweep codes and electrification would have everybody remove gas burning fireplaces, gas burning furnaces, water heaters, and go straight electric. A heat pump is electric. It could be more efficient than a furnace. An electric water heater could be more efficient. The problem is with the cost, the payback is anywhere from 10 to 40 years. Average person doesn't live in their home for 40 years. I'm going to use an example of Superior and Louisville. They're running into the issue with solar right now. XL does not have the ability to buy back their surplus energy. So if you're going to mandate solar, you're going to spend, typically it's $4 a watt, but you could spend up to $40,000 on your home putting in solar. XL might not have the ability, or United might not have the ability to buy back your surplus. You've invested $40,000 to save $200 a month. What's the payback on that? 200 months. The typical solar system lasts 10 years or less at peak efficiency. After 10 years, you're replacing parts. So there's additional costs. So while it is good to think about our environment, greenhouse gases, climate change, those kind of things, we would like to think we're doing it in the most expeditious fashion where we don't want to bankrupt somebody trying to be as efficient as possible. We talk about affordable housing. Great. Housing is getting ridiculous in pricing. Let's build it as inexpensively as possible. But if we add $30,000 to $50,000 on energy efficiency to each home, that's just putting it further and further out of reach to a significant percent of our population. So I'm all for energy efficiency. I'm all for the least amount of hydrocarbons being burnt. But it is my opinion, this is not the correct direction.
Anyone have anything else? All right, thank you. Nope, nothing. All right. With that, I will entertain a motion. Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, if anybody else wants to really speak on it, but go ahead, Larry. I should have, I didn't even see you back there, Larry. I would have called you up right away.
Larry Strock, 840 Lone Wolf Circle. I'm trying my hardest to sit back there and pay attention and be quiet. This electrification is really something. In Boulder, it's already going on. Let me tell you that they've found that children are given asthma, are coming up with asthma because of gas stoves and gas appliances. That's one of the big reasons why your $10,000 gas stoves have been outlawed in California. New York has recently stopped the use of gas also. I think a lot of these codes should be for new builds. I don't think we should enforce them on things that are already built. You know, to run a line for your EV unit is not that expensive. It's $500 to $1,200. You supply the cord. It's coming, it's going to be that way. Maybe in the future it'll change. But right now I think you need to go with that. The energy code or the conservation code is when you read it, it's mind boggling. But the truth of the matter is it's very simple. A lot of the things that they want to do are just plain common sense. So don't be baffled by all the words. It's really not that hard. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Larry. Anyone else? Oh, all right. Does anyone have anything else they want to speak? All right, then point I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve ordinance 2023-682 as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Tapey,
Well, I have questions and doubts. I'll go ahead and say yes.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney,
Yes.
Trustee Bristow,
No.
Trustee Cohen,
Yes.
And motion carries. Peanut butter jelly time. Okay. Yeah. That's how we finish a roll call, with peanut butter jelly time. Love it. And on that mic drop, I'm out. Okay, the time is now 7:03 and we'll close the public hearing. Back to the regular meeting, and we will go forward into staff reports. Finance, she is not here tonight.
Is not here tonight. As I mentioned earlier today, if you have questions, pass them along and we will be happy to answer them for you.
And next up, Chief.
Good evening. Supply my report to you. We've got 2 new officers that are in field training. One of them has actually now completed it because he had experience and was quickly through. So he's out on his own working tonight, working right now, matter of fact. Working a shift, safety day reminder, I think everybody knows is this Saturday. For whoever can attend that. Question about a Citizens Academy came up earlier. Yeah, we would like to do that. We certainly during COVID, it kind of stopped that from happening, and then just trying to get back staffed up. And I think that most people that have gone to that have really gained a lot from it, and would like to do it again. So we can work on trying to get that in the works. I'm just not sure when it'll happen yet. I don't have anything else unless you have some questions for me.
Questions, comments for Chief? No, all right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, next is water wastewater, Mr. Ramey.
All right, here, the party guy is here. I don't know what that sound was that came on, but I do apologize. My report, the only thing that's kind of missing for this month is that we did have 3,213 pounds of BOD come in, which that takes up 84% of the plant capacity for the wastewater, as you see that. You can see we still catching up with dewatering as far as getting the digesters under control after we had some work done. So you can see we've put out quite a bit of sludge. Nothing out of the ordinary, just normal operations at the wastewater plant. The water plant, as you can see, we're down 5 million gallons for the month, which is quite a drastic drop from last year. A lot of that has to do with too cold for people to start up their sprinkler systems. We are seeing an increase in demand today, but for April, we didn't have much going on. We got everything set up. We're ready to go for summer use. We've got, as far as the matrix goes for our CIP projects, we're still waiting for quotes back on some of the equipment. And as soon as we get those, we'll provide those to the board for consideration and future meetings. If you got any other questions, I'm happy to answer.
All right, any questions for Wayne? And I'm not seeing any questions, so thank you, Wayne. All right.
Thank
Next
you.
item is Public Works. Chris.
Thank you, Mayor, trustees. You have my report, hit a few high notes and answer any questions. Our loader is once again back in service. We totally rebuilt the valve block in-house by our public works staff. Our 600 has arrived in Greeley, and we're hoping that we'll take delivery of it somewhere between August and October because of the availability of some of the upfit equipment. CoCal Landscaping is nearing completion of their design for the conservation garden at the farmhouse location at Bella Vista. So we're excited to continue working on that project. Striping and pavement markings, I actually have a pre-con meeting tomorrow. Hopefully that'll be scheduled here in the next 3-4 weeks. And Road 2, I'm sure everyone has noticed the progress on the south side of the road. They're maintaining their schedule even with the last week or so of rain. Staff has also sent comments, hopefully final round of comments back on the north side construction plans. We anticipate approving those construction plans in the very near future, and hopefully that'll facilitate the north side happening right on the heels of the south side. So we're hopeful that we'll have a long season of construction on the Road 2 corridor. And we have fall cleanup day or spring cleanup day Friday and Saturday this week. So bring your stuff out to us. And with that, I'll answer any
All
questions.
right, any questions, comments? Go ahead.
Were you able to locate someone to do the street sweeping in within the town or not yet?
So I was able to find a contractor to come out and do a lot of the prep work for striping. I'm still working on an RFP to get a contract in place so that we can have a regular schedule.
Anything else? Okay, trustee Tavia.
Hey, Chris, thank you for everything that you do.
Thank
Just an observation, the driving in tonight or this evening on County Road 2, just east of King. I think there are, and I'm sure it probably was rain caused, but there are a couple of really big potholes that, because the construction, if you try to veer, you're going to get into the other lane, but
Okay,
I sure wouldn't want to hit it with my tire.
thanks. We'll look into it in the morning.
Anyone else? No? All right, thanks, Chris. Well, Chris isn't here for community development, so.
Mr. Kennedy did leave this afternoon sick, unfortunately.
Hold on one second. We usually don't take comments from, but if you have anything for him, you can, for Chris. Go ahead. Sorry.
As usual, Mr. Kennedy has lots of information in his report. One new item that I wanted to call your attention to. In the coming weeks, the board will be asked to approve a couple of subdivision improvement agreements. And those are fairly unusual. In the time I've been with the town, the board hasn't been asked to approve a subdivision improvement agreement. So in his report, he has a description of what those are and why we have them, and a little bit of background about the two that'll be coming forward. One is an updated agreement for the Silver Peak subdivision, and the other is a brand new subdivision improvement agreement for the Quick Trip site. So we provided that in advance so that it's not quite so mysterious when those agreements show up on the board agenda in the coming weeks. So as always, please reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you. Heather, town clerk.
Good evening. I don't have much to add to my report from the packet, but if you have any questions, happy to
Anyone have any
answer.
questions for Ms. Marcourt? No, thank you. And human resources.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. A couple things I would like to highlight from my report is we have one vacancy right now. And I did mention last time, I'm very happy PD is still fully staffed, so we want to keep it that way, still that way. We can see that we've been planning on safety days and cleanup days. Hope you guys can participate. Communication has gone out to our residents, and we hope to have a better turn of people coming to the events. Which is great. And a project I've been working on, I've been creating ID badges for our employees and working on a policy to increase security. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions, comments? Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. And last but not least, Mr. McBroom.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one update to my staff report. I mentioned in the last bullet, Senate Bill 273, that raised some concerns with us that it might limit our ability to use urban renewal as a tool in our potential agricultural areas that may be annexed into the town on the east side of the highway. It looks like that bill will not apply to us. Still waiting on some confirmation. There's also a possibility that the governor will veto it anyway. But overall, positive news that we believe URA will still be available to us. It's such a useful financing tool. It's really the best financing tool available to a town like ours to finance public infrastructure. So far, it looks like it'll still be available to us. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Nope. Seeing none, we'll move on to mayor and trustee comments. Thank you, Brian. Trustee Tapey. Please.
I've had some question come to me in regard to the field in front of Silver Peaks. There have been people on ATVs going at high rates of speed in that field, which is very concerning.
So, no, I don't think they have permission. It's like, tell folks when I see that.
Okay. Right. Well, I didn't know if maybe a private property sign needed to go up or something.
Responsibility.
Thank you. Also, just a question for Brian. With the new water tower, is there a possibility of any addition or rental or leasing, or I don't know how it works, but cell towers or cell phone service or anything happening with that?
Yes, many communities do generate revenue by leasing space on towers. I'll double check, but the tower should be designed to accommodate that type of equipment. So that would be
great.
something the board could consider after the tower is in service.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Bristow.
I have nothing, thank you.
All right. Trustee White.
I've got two things. One, curious if it would be possible, if it would be appropriate, for us to possibly get something on the website talking about the South BP Draw Metro District and their annual fee, because I'm getting really annoyed having to explain that over and over and over to people. It's a legit bill, and it would be nice if people saw it on the town website. Maybe they would be a little more hesitant not to throw it in the trash and actually pay it. I just think that would be nice because it's something I'm seeing a lot right now. And then secondly, I'm just curious, I tried to get on my cell phone and send to my husband, he was gonna come on to be part of this public comment, and I couldn't even find the Zoom link to tonight's meeting right before I got here. So just would like to put that out there. I literally had to get on my work iPad, email myself, forward the email to him. I just want to make sure that somebody wants to quick jump on a meeting. I don't understand why there's not a link on the calendar. But maybe that's something we could look into.
So right now, we just have the Zoom link on the page where the agenda and packet is posted, as well as on like the news flash on the website. It's on, if you like scroll through that news flash, there's a page that just has the link for people to click on. So it's in those two places right now.
I literally typed up to board Zoom meeting and nothing came up. So then I went to, I'm on my cell phone, so I went to business or government, whatever that top one is, open that, clicked on town board, you click on that and it shows you everybody and it says click on the calendar, but there's no link available. So I think we're missing something there.
All right. Anything else? No. All right, thank you. Trustee Cohen.
I just would like to say thank you to all of our residents who showed up here in person tonight or emailed in advance to voice their opinion on all of the topics that we have going on. I really appreciate hearing your voice and hearing what it is that you want in terms of direction for us. So thank you.
And I echo those sentiments. Thank you, all of you, for coming and speaking, and we appreciate it. This is a fuller house than we've had in a while. No, I really am happy to see people come out and voice their opinion. Even you, Dave Ott. You didn't even speak. But anyway, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Opposed? And we are adjourned at 7:18.